Picture this. You're leaving your apartment in the morning, coffee in one hand, keys in the other. You head outside, and there it is, a ladder propped against the building, right in your path. Do you walk under it? Or do you quietly sidestep, maybe barely noticing you did it at all? Maybe later you spill some salt, and before you know it, you're tossing a pinch over your shoulder like it's obvious. Then there's the anxious double knock on wood right after you say something optimistic just in case. It's not like anyone expects the influence of the Ladders Guild, or the salt demons to be lurking nearby. But for some reason, we all perform these odd little rituals. You may not call them superstitions. You might call them habits, or quirks, or just something I do. But hidden somewhere in our routines, tiny superstitions have a strange power even when we never fully notice them. Why do these odd behaviors exist? How do we pick them up? And what exactly are they doing for us anyway? Let's break down the weird power behind the tiny superstitions you barely realize you have. First, let's look at the simplest part, the basic instinct to connect cause and effect. Your brain is a pattern-finding machine. It's constantly trying to predict what's coming next, so you don't step barefoot into spilled coffee or miss your bus. So when something mildly odd happens, a door slamming right after you whistle, say your brain latches onto it. Even if it was just the wind, a small part of you mentally tags whistling doors closing as something to keep in mind. It's not scientific, but it's easy. You mention rain, and suddenly you can't find your umbrella. Or you say nothing can possibly go wrong now, and then your Wi-Fi cuts out for 10 minutes. So you start avoiding tempting fate with certain phrases. Or you pick up tiny routines, repeating things that seemed to work last time, just in case. It's like leaving a message for the universe, hoping for the smallest bit of control. Pattern detection. It's a useful brain feature that runs in the background all day. But sometimes it means you knock on wood every time you make a bold prediction about weekend plans. But there's a deeper layer underneath this. We turn to tiny rituals not just for control but for emotional comfort. Superstitions thrive when we feel anxious or powerless. Think back to childhood, or to a stressful week at work. Do you ever find yourself developing your own little rules? Maybe you always turn on the TV with the same remote, or you eat your morning toast in the same order, or double-check the lock exactly twice before bed. There's a comfort in repeating a pattern when everything else feels random. It might feel slightly ridiculous, but it works. When you toss the salt over your shoulder, you're not really banishing bad luck. You're giving your mind a tiny moment of certainty inside a chaotic day. A predictable action with an imaginary effect can still calm you down. Athletes are famous for these rituals. Untie, then retie shoes before a match. Wear the same socks. Listen to a specific song before a big exam. It's the emotional version of a seatbelt. Even if it doesn't protect you from anything real, it just makes you feel safer. Rituals shrink the bigness of the world down to something you can manage, even if it's only for a second. Now, those little superstitions aren't just personal, they're shared. Every culture has its own weird catalog of tiny warnings and rituals. Don't open umbrellas indoors. Don't whistle at night. Don't photograph 3 people with you in the middle. No cutting nails at night. No gifting shoes. No stepping over a child's legs. And never cheers with water. Everyone, everywhere, is just quietly navigating a minefield of imaginary triggers. Social superstitions act like a hidden rulebook. You don't have to believe, exactly. It's just easier to play along, nodding when someone knocks on wood after they say, "I haven't been sick in years." Joining in makes you feel included, even if the action is silly. Resisting those group rituals can even feel awkward, like not laughing at a joke or not singing happy birthday. There's an unspoken bond in tiny shared superstitions. No one wants to be the one who jinxed it for everyone. Or worse, the one who gets blamed if things suddenly go wrong. So we keep passing down these little moves, like folk dances, long after we forget why they started. Somewhere, right now, someone is saying fingers crossed at exactly the same time as you, and then pretending it was a joke when it wasn't. But here's where it gets even weirder. These tiny superstitions often become deeply personal, customized, private, and unique to you. Some are passed down from families, but most are self-invented, and you might not even know why you do them. Maybe you always leave the house in the same order: wallet, phone, then keys, never the other way around. Or you won't start a new show until right at the start of the hour. Or you avoid putting a hat on the bed after your grandmother once said it was unlucky. Sometimes these rituals protect you from awkward memories, like the one day you skipped a step and everything fell apart. Other times, they help you build a tiny pocket of control in an unpredictable world. And occasionally they just give you something private and slightly absurd to look forward to, like tapping every button on the elevator, but only on Wednesdays. Personal superstitions are invisible shields. They're like secret passwords whispered to the universe, just in case the universe is paying attention today. Of course, if the universe actually responded to these, it would probably be busy sorting out everyone's socks by color. For some, giving up a ritual feels like giving up a lucky charm. And for others, inventing a new one after something good happens is a way to claim a little credit for coincidence. The more you notice them, the more you realize just how many are hidden in the background of your day. So what are we supposed to do with all of this? Should we stamp out every silly ritual? Or just keep tossing imaginary salt and hoping for the best? The answer is, there's no real harm in most tiny superstitions, as long as they don't take over your life. Sometimes they're just fun little reminders that brains are odd and life is unpredictable. If a ritual helps you feel calm before a nervous meeting, great. If you skip stepping on every crack in the sidewalk just for the hell of it, well, you've harmlessly entertained your inner 8-year-old. It's only a problem if you can't function without it, or if superstitions cause more fear than comfort. Otherwise, tiny rituals are just another weird way humans make sense of a world that doesn't always make sense. Knock on wood for that. So maybe you'll notice, the next time you hesitate before saying, "It can't get any worse," your brain isn't superstitious. It's just flexing that ancient, odd, human muscle for feeling safer, together or alone, even if it's just through a sprinkle of salt and a knock on hollow furniture. If you caught yourself in any of these rituals during this episode, well, welcome to the club. For more weird reasons behind the everyday things you do, subscribe to The Weird Reason. And remember, if this video brings you luck, you probably already had some hiding in your pocket just next to your house keys.